All right, we are live on YouTube. I just need for the video to connect on my other monitor over here so that I can grab that link and put it in our free business mastermind group so that our members can join us easily and conveniently in the YouTube. What the world? Why is that so big? Oh, because it's on Zoom 175%. That'll do it. Let's take that down some. Okay, now let's grab the link now that I can see the link. I feel like I was just looking at an eyeball for a minute there. All right, we're going to throw that in the group, post that up. That's cycling up. Come on, post. All right, that is posted in the group. And now I just need to make sure that I can see the YouTube comments. And I can. Okay, we can officially get started, y'all. So welcome to the Her First Six Figures Morning Show. It is an interactive coaching and training experience as part of our free business mastermind group to position Black and brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to generate your first six figures by teaching you how to make the money and create time freedom. This week's blog is at shaycannon.com/offer KPIs. That is shaycannon.com/offer KPIs. Because what we are going to dive into this week is operational KPIs to optimize your offer for your six-figure growth. Okay. We talk about KPIs all the time, just basic business KPIs. But this week, we're going to talk about KPIs specifically for growing your offer and making more money from your offer. All right. So your main offer is the heartbeat of your business. That would make operations that you put around that offer more like the circulatory system, okay? So without tracking the right KPIs, that heart that is the offer, you working overtime for minimum output. So for online service-based entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, grinding towards your first six figures, this is where the breakdown often happens, okay? The offer should be solid, but you are keeping up with how it performs, and you have to keep up with what could be better, okay? So operational KPIs act as your business's internal diagnostics, giving you insight into how well you're actually delivering what you're selling. It's not about hustling harder. It's about tightening up what's already in motion. When you track the right things behind your main offer, you finally create capacity, consistency, and clarity that turn effort into income. All right. Now that was just the introductory because the introduction. Now let's get into the first strategy that we're going to talk about this week. Okay. And that first strategy is creating client touch points that have KPIs associated with them. Okay. Now in the blog, I say client touch points need repeatable systems. So one of the biggest operational blind spots for service-based solopreneurs is not having a documented process for every step of their main offers delivery. Okay. Now I've kind of called it SOP to touch point match rate, because I just need you to know that for everything that you're doing to service the client, you need to have a SOP for it. Okay. So how many of your client interactions, from welcome emails to deliverable reviews, are backed by a clear, repeatable SOP or standard operating procedure? So why does this matter? Because what feels like flow in your head often turns into a fumble when you're tired, when you're busy, when you're trying to scale. Okay. It's funny because I just talked about this morning how I'm going to have to tweak my process living here in Vietnam when it comes to my content, because I realized that I haven't done my reels for today. That's REELS. And the crazy thing about it is, because the time zones are so offset, it's morning on Eastern time, but it's evening here in Vietnam. Okay. And so guess what? After I do the morning show, I can't go outside and do my reels because it's dark outside. I usually do my reels while it's still light outside here before it's even morning time where you are, right? So it's crazy because today's reels won't be done because it's dark outside. So I can't go do my usual by the pool and by the bushes because it's dark. But that just tells me I need to tweak my SOP to for Sundays, because my Sunday, which is it my Sunday is your Saturday, and I'm not really thinking about work on my Sunday, and so I'm not thinking about the reels. Therefore, I'm going into what is your Monday looking crazy because I haven't done them. So we just need to think about, what do we need to be consistent with? Because those are the things we need to create processes for and document those processes. But if you're not sending, well, put it like this. If you think you being consistent with your client experience, I want you to think about the times that you're not sending the report emails that you were supposed to send, that you're forgetting to send the calendar invites for your events and your meetings, or you're relying on your memory for what's supposed to happen next. You are creating chaos in disguise, okay? The client might not always say something, but the inconsistency erodes trust, delays delivery, and drains your time. So when your main offer isn't systematized behind the scenes, you're not running a business, you're running a gamble. Because let me tell you how it might not go the way that you think unless you have these things systematized and you have your SOPs for every step, okay? Now, that was the blog, but here on the morning show, I give you more. So this morning, what I have for you in my notes are, I have the link to the blog post that we've done before in the past, where taking the steps to optimize your offer, because that's not what this is this week, but it bears mentioning. Like if you have an offer that's going out and you feel like that offer could be better, you can go to shaycannon.com/struggle and it'll talk to you about optimizing your offer, what to look at. Also, we're talking about SOPs again today, so I'm sending you back to the SOP blog post. So that's shaycannon.com/SOP. All right. Now, the more that you're going to get, we're going to talk about your client touch points need repeatable systems. So I came up with, what are the 10 common areas that you need to systematize and create SOPs around when it comes to your offer, okay? So number one, your client onboarding process, the steps from payment to welcome email, to contract, if that's applicable, to scheduling, to information materials, whatever it is, we need SOPs around the entire onboarding process, okay? Number two, whatever your project kickoff or service kickoff call is, your initial session, we want to handle that the same way each time. Okay, so how do you prepare for it? What is the structure of it? Is there any follow-up involved with it? All of that needs to be the same every time for every client that is getting that same offer. Okay. Number three, weekly or bi-weekly client check-ins. Okay, so especially those of us who have services that go on for a duration, or that has to hit certain milestones, we need to be communicating all along the way, not just at the milestone, but all along the way. So your recurring communication rhythm for emails and or meetings, you should keep the client engaged and on track and in the know. Okay. Let me tell you how I like to do mine. If I meet with my client every week, I'm not doing a report too. I'm going to give you an oral report. You're not going to also get an email report. If I meet with a client every other week, or let's say I don't really do every other week or every 2 weeks, I do first and third week or second and fourth week. And if I'm meeting with them in that cadence, the week that I'm not meeting with them is the week they'll get an email report. But the week that I meet with them, they're going to get an oral report. So you can kind of follow that if you want to, but I'm not going to do an email report on the same day that I'm meeting with you and I can give you an oral report. You write, take good notes is what I'm going to say. But you need to have all of that as a part of the process, however you want to do it. Okay. Number four, deliverable handoff or presentation. Like if you have something to present, there needs to be a way that you do this every time, or so that you know how to do it. So if there is Say, for example, the client, what they need is maybe some kind of compiled information. Well, you need to have a way that that information is given every time, or how things are presented every time. So how and when you deliver something, whether it be the report, whether it be a website, or whether it be a synopsis or a strategy, however, whatever that is, there needs to be a repeatable way that it is presented every time, right? So is it in the body of the email? Is there a summary in the email and then the full report attached as a PDF? You need to have that down as how you're going to do it every time, all right? Number 5, client communication response workflow. I sometimes, well, I guess this is I'm gonna stick with what I first named it, which is client communication response flow. But what that is how do you handle your client questions, your client feedback, any issues in between, meetings or reports? How do you handle emails? Is there a client portal? Do you have, inbox boundaries on social media? Like, what is your communication protocol? You guys know I have a communication protocol, but I also want to add to this. Let me make sure I didn't make that a separate one, because I'm kind of feeling like it should be a separate one. I don't think I made it a separate one. I did not. So let me go ahead and let you know what I was going to say. And that is, anytime that you have reached out to a client, most likely the client does not respond the first time, right? So you kind of need a, what do I call it? I call it a, dang it. I can't think of the word, but when you escalation, that's what it is. Client escalation. So when you email a client the first time, do you email again? Okay. If you email the second time, then what happens next? Do you send a text message? What happens on the 4th attempt? Do you call? So you definitely need some type of SOP within this communication of how does the response or communication escalate with your client when you need it to. This has been something that I have put in place for almost all of my clients, so that admins and other people handling tasks that have to reach out to clients, I let them know, hey, this is the protocol for escalation that I want you to go through before you bring it back to me. Right? So I let them know, send the email, okay? Wait 2 days, send another email, okay? Wait 1 day, send a text message. Wait 1 day and call, okay? After that, send it over to me, but send it to me in the email that shows when you initially reached out, and the email that's the second reach out, okay? And tell me the date of the text and the call. And I'm taking all the information, and now me as the COO, I'm reaching out to the client and I'm letting them know what the boundary is going to be with us as a company. Like, we're going to make this decision for you, or, at this point, this is a deadline, and then we're not going to worry about it anymore, and we're not coming back to it, things like that. So you do need an escalation protocol within your client communication response flow, okay? Number 6, client feedback and revisions process. What happens when a client wants changes or edits? How to avoid, them adding stuff into that scope of work. This is good for people like Keith, right? So Keith does professional graphic design. He's only going to allow so many revisions as a part of the fee that they have paid. You definitely they need to know what the revisions are, like how many they get before you get started. A great time to let them know or to remind them is when you're delivering something for their feedback. You can remind them, hey, you only get 2 revisions. This is round 1, right? Okay. And you have this many hours to get back to us. Okay. But there needs to be a process around that. Also, a thing that you need to do, because most of your clients don't even know how to give proper feedback. They know how to tell you their feelings, right? I don't like it. It needs to do more. That don't help nobody. What does that mean? Right? So you need to put parameters around the feedback. So there needs to be a process for the feedback that they give you. I always tell people, let me know what you like about it. Let me know what you don't like about it. You have 3 or 2 versions. Tell me which one is the best one to work as the base version, and tell me what we're changing, what are we taking out, what are we adding. Give me visual representation or examples of what you want to see. See, you can't just come to me with, oh, I just don't like it. What don't you like? Okay, so we need to have this as a process. All right, number 7, progress tracking and milestone checkpoints. Okay, we've talked about it a month or so ago when we talked about your proposals. You need to break your Keith said, I hate when they make it say make it pop. Yeah, what do you mean by make it pop? That could be like color or make it bold. Like, what do you mean make it pop? You so right, Keith. That's why you need to tell them ahead of time. What does that mean? And make that a part of the process. So you don't have to when they finally do respond back 17 days later after the deadline, they're not even giving you nothing to work with. So yeah, make that a part of your process. Milestones. Your service should have phases to it. Okay. Those phases and completing a phase equals a milestone. And so what happens is all along the way of the service, okay, we should be checking in with those milestones. So internal and external steps for tracking clients' results and making sure transformation is on track. Okay. Now, what we understand is when we give a service, we know about how long that service should take if everything is going well on time, right? But things happen. There are things that can happen where we could go faster. There are things that can happen that can make us go slow or be delayed. We need to keep up all along the way so that we understand what's going on. And let me tell you about your clients. We love our clients, but they will blame on you things that's a delay that's not your fault. Right? Like they're going to assume that if you gave a deadline of today and they give it to you 2 days later, oh, it should only be a 2-day extension on when you get back with them. Right? No, that's not what that means. Because if you don't hit the deadline, you might get moved a month because you don't know what's behind your deadline that now you have to wait till that cycles through. So you need to let them know so that they understand that just because you're 2 days past the deadline doesn't mean that now it's going to be 2 more days, from the point of delivery again. That's not how this works. We had to push you out of the flow, the workflow. Now we're focused on people who meet the deadline. So you might have to wait a month. You might have to wait a month and a half. We'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? So these things need processes. Number 8, invoicing, payment, follow-up, and reminders. Okay. If you're not auto charging, this needs to be tight. Chasing money is not a good thing for your brand and your company. Even if you have it on auto charge, sometimes people come off of auto charge for different reasons. So you need to be paying attention. I'm gonna tell you, I'm bad about it. I don't really be paying attention. I definitely need the right processes for that, especially for my memberships. I have one retainer client that is not on auto pay. And so that one, it always makes me come back to attention on that because there's something about the type of bank that she's using for her business account that it don't like those automatic payments coming out like that. So it always does like the money is not there or overcharge or whatever. So she's not on auto pay. So now I have to watch because that's a big chunk of money. I have to watch and see, is she getting that invoice? Has the invoice been paid? I have to stay on top of that, right? So that's number 8. Number 9, we talked about onboarding. Let's talk about offboarding. Your offboarding and your final deliverables, your process for ending your relationship with the client. Do they have a grace period? How do they get in touch with you about any questions that they have at this point? They need to know when the service has ended. You need to be able to ask for testimonials. You need to be able to ask for referrals. How do they find all of the deliverables that you put together over the span of you working with them? Like, is that in cloud storage? How long do they have to get the stuff out of your cloud storage before it might be deleted, right? All of that needs to be a process and it needs to be documented. Offboarding, final deliverables. Number 10, I already said testimonials, but collecting testimonials and referral requests needs to be its own process. Each of those need to be their own processes, and we need to write them down, okay? So post-delivery automations or reach outs to collect feedbacks, to encourage referrals. Don't let this fall through the cracks, because we need the testimonials as social proof to get more people in, and we would love requests because that helps us to get more money. So that little strategic partnership like we talked about last week, this is a great way to make that automated as a part of the process, all right? So the question for today, let me see, because y'all know I be writing these questions and they'll be making no sense when I write them, when I read them back. Typos galore, grammar galore, syntax just off. I know I be running hella crazy. But let me give y'all the question of the day. I'll drop it in YouTube also. Cool beans. So the question of the day is, which of these touch points do you need to create SOPs for to be sure things are done in excellence each time for your client? And do you have any obstacles to creating the SOPs that you need? All right. We're going to start with Dr. LaFera, but first I'm going to give you the 10 things you need to be creating SOPs around for your clients, for the offer for your client to show up in excellence. Number one, you need to create SOPs around your client onboarding process. Number two, you need to create SOPs around your project kickoff or service kickoff, whatever the initial session is. Number three, you need to create an SOP around your weekly or bi-weekly client check-ins. Number four, you need to create SOPs around your deliverable handoff or the presentation of things to the client. Number five, you need to create a SOP around client communication. We're going to say the communication protocol and the escalation protocol. Number six, create SOPs around client feedback and revision process. Number seven, create SOPs around progress tracking and milestone checkpoints. Number eight, create SOPs around invoicing, payment follow-up, and payment reminders. Number nine, create some SOPs around offboarding and final deliverables. Number 10, create SOPs around testimonial collection and referral request. All right. Now let's go to Dr. LaFera. Dr. LaFera, which of these touch points do you need to create SOPs around to be sure things are done in excellence each time for your clients? And do you have any obstacles to creating the SOPs that you need?
Sorry.
Good
I'm going to say
morning.
number 7, SOPs around progress tracking. So that, like, as I start this offer that I'm doing, I will be able to, I guess, like, to make sure that I have, like, if it's anything else I need to add, or like if it's a certain way I need to do something, I need to know how to better do it. And I think that will give me some quick, I guess, real-time feedback so I can, implement stuff for the new people who do it.
Yeah. So I would even ask some past clients, like, what would they have liked to have happened at that point?
Mm-hmm.
What would have been of value, more value to them at that point? I like to ask stuff like that so that I can consider adding it. Also think back to was there any issues that kept showing up at that phase? Because that's going to be something that you're going to want to tackle too. So I'm very sensitive to stuff like that. That's if I feel like I keep hearing something, or I feel like somebody has brought to me a legitimate issue or struggle, I tend to want to solve those with some type of process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool beans. All right. Of course. Let's go to Dr. LaToya. Which of these touch points do you need to create SOPs for to be sure things are done in excellence each time for your clients? And do you have any obstacles to creating SOPs that you need?
I actually think 2 of them. The one around testimonials and feedback. I literally still have a testimonial request from a program that ended a month ago, that every day I'm like, I'm going to send that out. So if I had a standardized process, it would have been out. I would have that, and we would be moving on. So definitely creating an SOP around that. And then the other one is the payment I'm better now that it's in Go High Level, but I haven't thought of like for myself, like what is okay, if it's late on day 5, so like I need to sit down and just think through what are the touch points that I want to do when I don't receive payment in time, so that part becomes standardized.
Exactly. Exactly. Cool beans. Because we never want them to get more value than the payments that they have made. Let's go on back to them testimonials though. Is this a group program or is this a one-on-one that you haven't gotten testimonials for?
No, it was a group program.
Yeah. So I would love it if you just add on to the last meeting, a round robin of everybody talking about, what they got out of it. Just so that you have something. And then in addition to that, have as a part of an automation, an email that goes out and ask them for it, tell them exactly how you want them to do it, and give them some examples of questions they can answer or things they can say. But yeah, go ahead and ask for that thing on video so that you have it. And again, everybody doesn't appear on video, but you can at least pull the audio and maybe use their Facebook profile picture and have it as like a podcast wave as they're talking, but their picture is up there. That still works good too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I did add that part from your last, I did take that from you. So I do have them talking about their transformations in the program. So I guess, but I think like I did create a list of questions that I kind of want people to, so that's the part that I knew that I do need to send out. So I added the first part from you. So yay, okay. I got something. But now I need the written part. Yeah.
Okay, that's good stuff though, because you can at least pull that and still use it in different ways. So that if time keeps getting away from you, because you know what's gonna happen. If too much time, you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna ask them people, and that was 6 months ago. You at least will have that. So that's the backup that I always suggest that we do. So good stuff. Dr. Ayana, which of these touch points do you need to create SOPs for to be sure things are done in excellence each time for your client or clients? And do you have any obstacles to creating the SOPs that you need?
Hi, good morning. I did have several of them, about 3 that really came to the top for me. Number 1, number 4, and number 10. Number 1 being client onboarding processing, just making sure that it's solid and neat and nice and packaged in an organized format and not random. Number 4, delivering handoffs or presentations. For example, things that I do repeatedly, having them again in a step and repeat format where, I'm not having to pull things together and missing parts when it's something that could be automated or, automatic, I should say. And then finally, number 10, collecting testimonials and referrals. I've been dropping the ball on that. And then later kind of following up, but it really needs to be systematic. So in terms of barriers to doing these things, no, I don't know if there's any real barriers per se, other than being conscious of it and aware of it and just implementing it rather than just operating on autopilot and not pulling these fine-tuned elements together. It's just about fine-tuning and doing it. So there's no real barriers other than that.
Cool beans, cool beans. And Keith said number 6, which is client feedback and revisions process. Yes, Keith, you need to be very clear. When they sign the contract as a part of the package that they're reading about, which package they want to buy, how many revisions should be there before they pay their money, after they pay their money, as a part of the contract, and as a part of the delivery of the graphics or the creative that they're getting. And you're giving them the opportunity to give the feedback. Remind them they only get this many and they're on this one. Also, you got to tell them how to give you feedback so that it's feedback that you can use, because the average person does not know how to give feedback for creative stuff. They give feelings. They don't give feedback. So you got to tell them how to do it. Cool beans. Kimberly said, people say my products are good, but I can't seem to get a lot of testimonials. So Kimberly, you may need to do some type of incentive right? So product-based people usually say, hey, if you give us a testimonial, we'll include a special coupon code for your next offer, or you'll get the balm and the scrub, you know what I'm saying, for this special amount then with your next order or something like that. So sometimes you have to give some type of incentive, Kimberly. And she said, I definitely need a process in place. Cool beans, cool beans. Keith said, I really need to focus on the feedback part. Yeah. I would tell them what, give them an example of good feedback and an example of bad feedback. But like I said, I like to tell them, so I don't know what your process is, Keith, but when I work with graphics, I'm usually giving people 3 versions, right? And I let them know, hey, you get 2 rounds. This round, we're getting it down to 2 versions, right? So you need to be picking which one is close enough that we can use it as a baseline. Then you need to tell me what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you would like to see added to it. And I need visual examples of that. Also, if there is something you like about a different version that you want us to apply to this base version, let us know, right? You got to give them a lot of direction, because they just gonna tell you crazy stuff that's not helpful at all. And then that's what makes you go through all of those revisions trying to understand what they're talking about. Put it on them to be very clear, but show them how to be clear. Cool beans. Keith said, got it. Thank you. Heather, what is which of the touch points do you need to create SOPs for to be sure things are done in excellence each time for your clients? Also, do you have any obstacles to creating the SOPs that you need?
Well, the whole operations thing gives me a damn headache. I would like little fairies or elves or something to come in and do it for me. Well, we had talked, a couple years ago, so offboarding I have that now, and that includes collecting the testimonial and referral. But I think probably the deliverable handoff, because right now it's really, really casual. But it definitely could use some more structure. And then I think it's just like really sitting down to think about it. You and I went through my client journey a couple years. Well, it's been, almost 2. Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Good Lord. It hasn't changed really. But anyway, I have some SOPs around them. I sat down, and then after you went over them again, didn't we do a whole week on this? Like actual dig into certain ones, right? So, and I spent some time, as soon as that morning show ended, I dove into it so that it was still fresh. So I did a lot of this already. I just, I think the deliverable handoff is the key right now.
Cool beans. And I'm going to tell you, SOPs around the offer, we need to be checking these quarterly, but definitely annually. If, I'm saying at least annually, good Lord. But quarterly, this is something that we can look at, because when we have tight processes around the offer, what we'll find is we can get people through our offer quicker, right? And in excellence. So 2 things happen. Now that we're getting people through more efficiently, we can service more people in a smaller amount of time. So that's more money. Because we're showing up in excellence, that's how we get referrals, word of mouth, social proof. That also helps us to make more money. So that's why it's so important. Over here on the YouTube side, we got Dr. Stacy is over here, all the way from Tanzania. And she says she needs number 5, number 8, number 9. Let me see what 5, 8, and 9 are. So 5 is the client communication. I think she said 8 and 9. Yeah, 8 and 9. So 8 was invoicing and 9 was the offboarding. And she said her obstacle are platforms that are costly. Well, platforms are just the easy way to do things. So where we can't afford platform, we have to exchange that with elbow grease. So Dr. Stacy, wherever there's a platform, you just might have to do the manual version of it. So there are platforms that you can create video trainings, right? However, you can also put videos in Google Drive, right? There are platforms that, help you to to store your written documents that are part of your processes and all of that kind of stuff. Well, again, you can use Google Drive or some kind of cloud storage. You just have to organize it to where people understand what it is, so that they understand where they can go back and find it. And things like that. So whereas there are platforms out there and they do cost money, like there are plenty of platforms that tell you that they help you with SOPs and they organize them for you, and then you can tag people, and they, you know, they have it where you can add a video to it and this, that, and the other, whatever. Well, whatever you have, you can use, right? So you can get on Zoom, record your video, add in a written version of this thing or whatever kind of materials, put that together and put them in one folder so that somebody can go in there and find it in Google Drive or whatever cloud storage you use. So there are platforms do cost money, but you can create these things because the platforms were built upon the manual version. So we can put stuff together too. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, anybody have any questions about client touch points that need repeatable processes that we need to be having SOPs for every step of how we service our clients? Any questions, value adds, or aha moments today? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the fulfillment time around your offer. How long is it taking you to service these people? So we're going to look at that tomorrow. Let's see here. All right, no questions, so that's fine. So this morning show, it's kind of like class that goes with our free business mastermind group. And with class, you have notes. If you want my notes with the 10 strategies, the 10 things that you need to be creating SOPs around as related to your offer, there's only 2 ways to get it. Number 1, you have to be in our free business mastermind group, and they live in the files section. Let me tell you something that's going to come up about that files section. I'm about to sunset some of those files that are in the file section, which means I'm going to take them away. So that it's not going to be an archive. It's going to be there for a certain amount of time, and then you need to download them or they go away. Okay. Or you can get them to your inbox, the entire morning show and those notes. So you will get, when you sign up, go to shaycannon.com/show. You'll get 2 emails every broadcast day, one in the morning to remind you to hop on YouTube, one in the afternoon with a link to the replay and a link to the show notes. Okay. And again, when that link is sent, you might want to start downloading, because I am changing things around. There will not be an archive that is just forever accessible anymore. I'm about to take some of this stuff away because I give valuable information that ends up being like micro learning courses that will be sold as such. So you get it free. It's part of the free business mastermind, but you won't have a lifetime access. So when you get these emails, download. When you see them come through in the group, download. All right. Cool beans. All right. So today I will be working on the May calendar for the free business mastermind group and the paid membership today. So I plan on releasing all of the assets that go with everything we have planned for May. Let's see. If you missed last Thursday was movie night. Dr. Ayana was there. I can't remember who all was there, but I know Dr. Ayana was there. We talked about the documentary, Sell and Spin, A History of Advertising. So I think Kimberly was there too. But it was great. We pulled out so many nuggets. If you are missing these movie nights, that's a part of the free business mastermind, you are missing free value. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's get into what's happening this week. This Thursday, we have Collab Live. Bring what you need as a collaboration and what you're willing to give in exchange to make it a win-win. This is when I live stream into the group. It is not a Zoom meeting. Your job is to show up with those 2 things, what you need as a collaboration and what you're willing to give as equal more value, not lesser value, to make it a win-win. And I'm going to help facilitate. So I'm there live for about 30 minutes. It's sometimes an excruciating 30 minutes, but I stay the whole 30 minutes, just repeating myself as people come in. So come with those 2 things, and I'm going to try to help you find what you need, but show up with what you're supposed to have. All right. So that is Thursday, Collab Live, 12 p.m. Eastern time, live streaming into the group. All right. Friday is a get shit done work session. It is usually for the paid membership only, but for 2 Fridays out of the month, we invite the free business mastermind group to come in on the last half, so that you'll have access information today as I release this month's events. All right. Cool beans. If you want to find out more about me, your host, Shay Cannon, and about the highly valuable free business mastermind group, I want you to go below in the description for the link and more details. All right. Also, you know you got great value, so give us a thumbs up on this episode, like the episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Also, this is going to be one of 4 videos, so make sure that you check out the other videos. All right. The studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but we'll see you back right here.